the cartoon dimension. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite channels growing up, Cartoon Network. Now, Cartoon Network is a big fan of the black and white pattern. I mean, their logo is a black and white checkerboard pattern. Sometimes throughout their commercials and their shows and their banners, you'll see this pattern prevalent everywhere. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, I talk about the significance of the black and white checkerboard pattern and the zigzag pattern or the striped black and white pattern found throughout the music industry, the movie industry, cartoons, shows. And I talk about how there's a connection with this pattern and what people see on psychedelics. When people partake in powerful psychedelics such as salvia, acid, shrooms, mescaline, DMT, ayahuasca, many of them report going to another dimension that looks like a checkerboard room or a zigzag room or a black and white checkerboard or zigzag room, kind of like the Red Room in Twin Peaks. And I've said this before in a bunch of my other videos, like for example, in the music industry, you see the checkerboard pattern everywhere. And I talk about this in my video I made called The Chess Masters. This pattern pops up on music videos time and time again, such as Young Thug's music video inspired by the show Twin Peaks, The Red Room. And many other music videos take that same concept. And they have checkerboard floors, they have zigzag pattern floors, or just checkerboard patterns all across the music video. And I mentioned this before, if you don't know what the show Twin Peaks is, it's a show made in the 1990s, and it's basically a show about possessing spirits who live in another dimension, influencing people to do wicked things. And as you can see, the music industry, the movie industry is full of these wicked things. But the one thing I haven't talked about yet is the cartoon industry. Now, growing up in the early 2000s, my favorite cartoon channel, coming back from school or on the weekends, was Cartoon Network. I adored that channel. At school, I couldn't wait for the bell to hit 3 just so I can go home and watch Cartoon Network. And Cartoon Network uses this pattern all the time. Like, for example, here's a Cartoon Network commercial showing that Scooby-Doo is up next. In this commercial, you see a Scooby-Doo banner in a checkerboard-like room. As I said before in a bunch of my videos, and all the experiences I talk about of people who partake in powerful psychedelics, they end up in this strange dimension with checkerboard floors, or Twin Peaks zigzag black and white floors, and they see these very bizarre entities in this dimension. So I don't think these patterns are just random or it's for art's sake. I think there's always a purpose to this. Or here's another Cartoon Network type banner. As you can see, checkerboard floors and checkerboard ceilings. Wicked spirits tend to leave their breadcrumbs and show who they're influencing, and if you pay attention, you can spot who or what is being influenced by wicked spirits. But yeah, very bizarre, odd patterns, strange rooms on these banners and commercials that literally look like the rooms, like the places and dimensions that people see on powerful psychedelics that I believe opens you up to wicked spirits. But I've never noticed how wicked and disturbing some of these cartoons were on Cartoon Network. Some of the cartoons that I loved watching as a kid, but looking back as an adult with actual spiritual discernment, I'm starting to see how disturbing and strange a lot of it was. Like for example, here's like a Powerpuff Girls commercial and you literally see Twin Peaks zigzag black and white patterns. One of my favorite shows on Cartoon Network was The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. It was a very odd show where these two kids were basically friends with the Grim Reaper. But every time the show would end, often the character Mandy, the girl, she would always say something bizarre or strange at the end of the show. And this one time she said something very strange that caught my eye recently that I remember seeing as a kid. And at the end of one of the episodes, she states the phrase, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law."
Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
For those of you who don't know what that is Aleister Crowley's quote that he's promoted to the masses. Do what thou wilt means doing your own will, doing what you want, which in my view is a very destructive belief, to do your own will and do what you want and follow your heart and don't listen to anybody else. Forget what the Bible says, forget the laws that God has placed to protect us and others out of love. Just do your own will. And as we can see, that philosophy has been super destructive in the 60s and 70s when we had that moral cultural shift. I remember after 2010, I was 12 and I saw Cartoon Network take a completely different turn. Not to say that it wasn't disturbing before, but it got really disturbing for some reason after 2010 with shows like Regular Show, Adventure Time, Uncle Grandpa, all these weird shows. And on the show Adventure Time, they had this bizarre character on there that literally resembles Baphomet, doing the same hand signs, the horns, the wings, the bizarre body. And it's very strange that this is in a cartoon show. Or in Powerpuff Girls when they had that really bizarre devil character. I mean, these are children's shows showing these things. And like I said, I don't think any of this stuff is just random or they're harmless little cartoons. But yeah, a lot of these shows were very disturbing, like Courage the Cowardly Dog. It was a show made in like 1996. And that show, like I would watch it as a kid, but I never realized how absolutely disturbing it was. And some of the characters were just so scary and disturbing. And this is not something kids should be watching. Like Courage the Cowardly Dog always encountered these strange creatures and people and demons. And it's just so freaky. So it's just so strange that a lot of these cartoon shows seem to promote very strange things and show kids disturbing things that they shouldn't watch. Like another show that was pretty weird was Flapjack. There are some scenes in some episodes in Flapjack that will literally give you nightmares. But yeah, like I said, as being an adult looking back on some of the stuff I watched as a kid, some of these cartoons that I assumed were harmless had some very bizarre undertones. And then of course at 9, somewhere around 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., Cartoon Network would play Adult Swim. Cartoon Network makes the claim that, oh, this is when kids are asleep. That way adult can watch adult cartoons and other shows on Cartoon Network. But I think they know exactly what they're doing, because we're really going to assume that all kids are going to be asleep by 9 p.m. That none of them are going to be up watching past that. I was one of these kids. I stayed up pretty late. I was a night owl all the time. And I watched a lot of Adult Swim, Family Guy, Robot Chicken, like all these disturbing shows as a child that I shouldn't be watching. This should not be on a cartoon channel for kids. Promoting all kinds of awful stuff like violence, promiscuity, witchcraft, Satanism, really creepy, disturbing stuff that kids should not be watching. And unfortunately, I was one of these kids. So that's why it's so important to monitor your children and see what they're watching, because as a kid, I've seen a lot of disturbing stuff on cartoons. But I appreciate you guys keeping up with my interesting topics and stating your thoughts in the comment section below on what you think of all this. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Feel free to comment any thoughts and ideas that you have. Shout out to all my patrons. Thank you so much for the support. It helps me find more time making this type of content. If you want to join my Patreon, I actually uploaded a couple new videos exclusively on Patreon. So huge thank you to all my patrons. If you would like to join, you could pick your own price. You can pay as little as $5 a month or even $1 a month. Or $1 a month, literally less than a small cup of coffee. I'm very appreciative of your guys' support. I love reading your comments, interacting with you. I would like for you guys to comment more. Those of you watching, feel free to comment anything you want. Also, guys, I made brand new t-shirts and long sleeve t-shirts, perfect for the fall weather that's coming up. So if you guys are interested, the link will be below. Again, all that support goes back to making these videos, making it higher quality, finding more time for research, interviewing people. So big, huge thank you to everybody. Comment all your thoughts, please. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much. We're out.